Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. My name is Alexis. I love Kwanzaa. I keep my Kwanzaa table up actually all year round. And I want to share today 7 reasons why I wish Kwanzaa wasn't designated for December. So the first reason that I wish Kwanzaa wasn't designated to be celebrated in December is that Kwanzaa is a harvest festival. And for many Black people all around the world, harvest festivals are in the summer. For most Black people, December is not a time where people harvest things. In the Kwanzaa table, your mazao or your crops are used to symbolize African harvest celebrations that reward productive and collective labor, but usually you're not harvesting crops in December. In West Africa, there are yam festivals that kind of start around August. And in Barbados, the Cropover culminates in August. So the first reason why I wish that we weren't celebrating Kwanzaa in December is that it's a harvest festival, but no one's really harvesting in December. The next reason that I wish that we celebrated Kwanzaa in like the summer or not in December is that unity for Black people is natural to us in the summer. We have our family reunions in the summer. We have the Essence Festival in the summer. We have a lot of reggae festivals in the summer. And Juneteenth, every year, Black people get into this debate. Do you celebrate July 4th? Well, Black American people get into this debate. Do you celebrate July 4th or do you celebrate Juneteenth? And it's like if we had Kwanzaa starting on Juneteenth and lasting for 7 weeks, maybe instead of 7 days, it would end the debate between Juneteenth and July 4th. So there are more things that we have to celebrate in the summertime. Along with that, we have a lot of songs that actually do celebrate the themes of Kwanzaa that we use in the summer. So the first theme of Kwanzaa is unity. And so when we have songs like We Are Family, or even the song Family Reunion, those songs that we bring back every year, that's celebrating a Kwanzaa principle. Even Queen Latifah's UNITY, it's established in the lyrics that that song was taking place in the summertime. Every year, Fresh Prince, we hear summertime, and a lot of the lyrics in that song are about, just bonding with your people and the vibes and the things that you do in the summertime. Whereas with Kwanzaa in December, a lot of us are trying to make songs about Kwanzaa, but if we looked at the principles that were in Kwanzaa, a lot of the songs that Black American people make about those same principles, a lot of them are summer theme type songs. The next reason that I wish we celebrated Kwanzaa in the summer and not in December is that the principle of self-determination is most evident in Black people in the summer. Kwanzaa was born in response to the Watts uprising or the Watts riots, and those took place in August of 1965. The Haitian Revolution, which is a really big deal, took place or began in August of 1791. The first use of, or the most popular use of the phrase Black Power came from a speech from Stokely Carmichael in June of 1966 at the March Against Fear. And Black Lives Matter formed in July 2013. So Black people working in their best self-interest, a lot of times that happens in the summer. A lot of your Independence Days for a lot of different nations are kind of in the summertime because that's when people are, ready to protest and fight. It doesn't mean every act of self-determination took place this summer. The bus boycotts and the civil rights movement in general, I think a lot of those revolved around December, but they didn't really even fall in the dates of Kwanzaa. But for other things that were about self-determination, summer is a time that a lot of Black people have made significant strides and progress for the people in the summertime. Another reason I think that Kwanzaa should be celebrated in the summer as opposed to in the dates of late December is that a lot of businesses close during the last 2 weeks of the calendar year. And so therefore, a December Kwanzaa lands during a time when many Black businesses might be closed. And in Kwanzaa, you're supposed to purchase from Black-owned businesses during the entire time. But a lot of Black-owned businesses might be closed during that. Whereas if Kwanzaa was in the summer, then it lands at a time when Black businesses are more likely to be open and even starting. And so it's a bigger opportunity for Black businesses. Also, if Kwanzaa wasn't 7 days only, like for example, if it was 7 weeks, if it went from Juneteenth to the first or second week of August, which is when Cropover is in Barbados, if it was a 7-week period and each theme of Kwanzaa was given a week instead of just a day, then you would have more opportunities for Black businesses to benefit from things like Kwanzaa crawls and stuff like that. So another reason that I think Kwanzaa should be celebrated in the summer instead of in December is to really make it distinct from Christmas and New Year's. The official website for Kwanzaa recommends that you only have Kwanzaa decorations around during Kwanzaa. But if you look at most people's YouTube videos about celebrating Kwanzaa, you have the Christmas tree right there in the background. Or some people say that the way that they celebrate collective work and responsibility is to work on taking down Christmas. And it kind of ends up incorporating Christmas one way or another if it's celebrated where it is. The dates of December 26th through the 1st, I'm not aware of any reason why those specific dates were picked. I know Kwanzaa was formed in response to the Watts uprising, but when it lands right in December 26th through July 1st, it kind of seems to be smack dab in the middle of two of the biggest westernized, holidays that there are. And so if Kwanzaa were celebrated in the summer, when you see red, black, and green, and yellow, but if you see red, black, and green and yellow in the summer, you associate that with Black people. You associate that with reggae. You don't associate that necessarily with Christmas. When you see red, black, and green in December, even though black is there, it just is automatically conflated with Christmas, and it doesn't seem as distinct. Christmas, by the way, it starts with Advent, which is 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas Eve. And then Christmas tide is December 25th until Epiphany, basically. And so that's January 6th. So people's Christmas trees are usually, if they're celebrating it in that fashion, are supposed to be up all the way during that time. And so if people don't want to have to feel like they have to choose between one or the other, it would be nice to not have those things taking place at the same time. And a lot of Eurocentric holidays, especially those that have like Nordic traditions, they exist because the Nordic peoples were trying to invite or coax the sun back to them, through candles and being sad that the sun left. And a lot of the traditions of Christmas and things like that make sense for people that were in a cold place in the wintertime where they might have had a lot of kids around them, and they kind of had to encourage to be good. Like, hey, be good or Saint Nicholas is not going to give you a gift. Be good or Krampus is going to beat you. Be good or the Yule Cat or be grateful or the Yule Cat is going to eat you if you don't, enjoy your Christmas clothes. And a lot of that makes sense if you're confined in a cold place where your kids can't really go outside to play. But most African Americans and a lot of Black people throughout the diaspora, they're from a place where their ancestors were more from West Africa, and that's not really a land where the sun necessarily leaves. And so a lot of the celebrations wouldn't typically be about those same things in those same times. And so it would actually be more Pan-African to have a celebration that is during a time when other people who are descendants of Africans are celebrating. So another thing is that the Zawadi, the gifts of Kwanzaa, are oftentimes educational gifts given to children. And educational gifts given to children make a lot of sense to take place in the late summer. So, for example, if Kwanzaa were to be 7 weeks starting on Juneteenth and then ending in the first or second week of August, you're going to go back to school shopping during that time anyway, prior to COVID. Now we don't know when all the kids are going back to school. But The Zawadi gifts are symbolic of, labor and love of parents and commitments made by the children, according to the Kwanzaa official website. And the Kwanzaa gifts are often educational, and so it makes sense to purchase educational gifts as the kids are getting ready to go back to school anyway. And for a lot of places, not just in the United States, that time period is around August, September, which is late summer. So it coincides with the natural, flow of things. And the biggest reason why I think it would be great if we celebrated Kwanzaa in the summer and not in December is that the whole period of October 31st, which is Halloween, to February 14th, is a long period of Eurocentric festivals that were Christianized from their pagan roots. So you have Saturnalia, which is where Christmas came from. You have, I think it's called Lupercalia, which is where Valentine's Day came from. And basically you had the Roman Catholic Church come stick a holiday on top of something that somebody else was already doing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with celebrating love on Valentine's Day, or celebrating, fear or ancestors on Halloween, and celebrating joy and celebrating gratitude on Thanksgiving. But there's a whole holiday season there that is really steeped in traditions that aren't necessarily like Pan-African. And a lot of Black people don't want to have to choose between the two, because growing up in Western culture is still very much a part of how you interface with the world. But if Kwanzaa were a season, like Ramadan is I think about a month long. So if Kwanzaa were 7 weeks or 49 days, starting on Juneteenth until like first or second week of August, that could be a Black holiday season to celebrate these principles outside of the context of Eurocentric holidays. And that would be a lot more self-determination. Along with that, there are other holidays like Somalian Independence Day, I believe it might be July 1st. And again, the Haitian Revolution. You get an opportunity to talk about moments in Black history in a context of a Black holiday, and without it necessarily being during the regular school year, so that you don't have the way Westernized institutions process those events influencing how they're received and how they're discussed. Which means that there's no more Kwanzaa cake. The infamous Kwanzaa cake, you can look it up on YouTube. That is someone trying to mainstream Kwanzaa in the context of how Eurocentric holidays are celebrated. And if it was celebrated in the summer, then it's not even something that people who aren't necessarily affiliated with Kwanzaa would need to touch and influence and contextualize in their own way. So it would be uniquely and distinctly ours. I like different ideas. I like the idea of it being a Black holiday season that's 7 weeks starting on Juneteenth and lasting until Cropover. That way it's Pan-African, includes like African Americans, includes Black people in Barbados, it includes Black people in different parts of the world, like yam festivals in Ghana and Nigeria. Or even the idea of like, what if it was 7 days for 7 months? So what if it was 7 days starting in February or March, which is not summer, but again, if it's a harvest festival, you can have seed planting going on. So if it was celebrated monthly, on the 26th of every month, you could still have your unity. You can process that as like a reunion or a game night or a party or anything like that, especially if hopefully COVID is over. The 27th, self-determination, self-defense classes, going to a gun range. The 28th, UJAMAA working together. You can have a service project where people get together and they work on something to make their community better. And 29th, of course, UJAMAA. So that's a Kwanzaa crawl to Black-owned businesses. I live in Vegas, but I love the idea on the East Coast they have Kwanzaa crawls where they go to just different Black-owned bars. But if on a monthly basis, it was just a dedicated time where you just specifically went to Black-owned restaurants and Black-owned bars, that would be awesome. The 30th, of each month. Of course, there is no 29th and 30th for most Februaries, but having like a session where you do goal planning or accountability or even a vision board party on the 30th, because just to celebrate purpose. And then on the 31st, you have your open mic night for creativity. So you're showing your art, you're doing your poetry, you're doing your songs. And For Black people, when it comes to Kwanzaa, there's a lot of emphasis on African music, African drumming. But a lot of Black culture and Black American culture incorporates different types of music. So, there's jazz, there's hip hop, there's rock and roll. And so just, getting to celebrate and acknowledge all of those things and all aspects of being a descendant of Africa, and not only focusing on the side that is traditionally associated with Africa, I think would be good, because the part of the contributions of Black people outside of being on the African continent still matter just as much as the traditions that we're celebrating that originated on the African continent. And then, like, maybe on the first of each month, I said vision board party here, but faith for Imani, even just planting a seed on that day, or planting a plant, or planting a garden, or planting a couple of things on that day. Easier to do on the spring and summer, and then you get to harvest from it later on, which is consistent with a harvest festival. So I think it would just be a more beneficial practice if Kwanzaa were celebrated outside of December. And so thank you for listening to me. My name is Lexus. It's just my random opinion. I'd love to know your thoughts, so let me know in the comments, and have a great day.